Hey everybody, this is Pamela with Paper, Ink, and More. Today's tutorial is going to be on this reindeer tag. It's a gift card tag where you could put a little gift card inside there. And so I'm going to show you what I've done to it. Now originally the cut file for my cameo silhouette is this reindeer here. And it's called the Reindeer Pocket Gift Card Holder. Now, Lori Whitlock designed this, and I just fell in love with this little reindeer when I first saw it, and I knew that I wanted to use it. So I'm going to show you what I did to change it up a little bit for the Christmas gift tag exchange that I did. So when you cut the paper from the file, it comes in different stages, different things. So we have the antlers here, we have the ears. I'm going to move the ears up here. We have the nose, and we have the face, and we have the tag itself. So I'm going to move the tag to the side. Now, in order to make the face like this one, I reverted to something that I used to do a long time ago when I paper pieced, when paper piecing was really popular in the scrapbook world. I was a painter at the time, and chalks were really popular. And so I developed a technique like a painter would, I guess, using a brush to chalk around areas on my paper piecings and just really enhance them a little bit. I knew that I wanted to do some shading, and that's the way I chose to do it. And so I even do the chalking still on some of my painting things that I've done. So I'm going to show you how to chalk. Now, the chalks that I use are decorating chalks, and you can see that these things are older than dirt, just about. I've had them probably since 1999. I'm not kidding. And I've used them so much in previous paper piecing projects. And so today this is what I'm using. Now I know that probably pan pastels would take the place of these, and I would really love to have a set of pan pastels, but what I have today is this, and that's what I'm going to use. Now I said that I use a brush, and it's really kind of odd to see somebody use a brush with chalks, but I feel like I have more control over the movement of the chalk. And so I use a filbert brush, and this is a number 4. And what I like about this brush is that it's flat, but yet it has a curved end, so you can get into little areas and corners easily. And I always use quality brushes. And I don't like cheap brushes because then you wind up with little hairs and all kinds of stuff all over the place. So if you buy brushes, buy quality brushes. And so I'm going to use this filbert brush today, or sometimes people call it a cat's tongue because it's shaped like a little tongue, to shade and manipulate this chalk around on this item. So I'm going to open up my chalks here, and the color that I'm going to use is this color right here, this dark brown that I have used a lot, and I'm trying to they're all broken up and saving little pieces, but it really is a great brown, especially when you're going on tan item. Now this paper is Nina Desert Storm paper, and the rest of it's just glitter paper and some regular brown cardstock. The one thing about chalk that I just love so much, because I can make lots of mistakes, is that it's really forgiving. And so when you're starting to manipulate this chalk around on here, and I keep saying manipulate, I don't like that. It's really forgiving. And so when you start moving this chalk around on the paper, you're going to want to move it from the inside to the outside. And so I'm always going to have my paintbrush facing the outside of the item. And then you come back over here and get some more, but it's so forgiving. Like if you put too much chalk in an area and you don't like it, and it's like, oh, that just looks awful, but there's not much I can do about it. Yeah, there really is, because with chalk, you're able to erase it before it takes on to a permanent state. And so if you make a mistake, just take a really good white eraser and erase it. And I'll actually show you. Let me find my my pencil. Like if I wanted to erase this, see how easy it erases? Ta-da! Then you can go back and you can add some more and your right amount that you like. Now I'm going to be going all the way around the deer. And some of this is a little different for me to talk and do at the same time. It's kind of like trying to walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm not real good at it. But anyway, so I'm going to go all the way around the deer. Another thing is I'm holding this with my fingernails. And so if you don't have fingernails, you could probably use your scissors, the tip end of your scissors, or you could use tweezers or something like that. And this is the reason why. I have found before when I've been chalking something, if I had my finger down on it and then I lifted it and moved my finger and then went over where I had my finger with the chalk, it leaves my fingerprint behind and the chalk picks that fingerprint up. So unless you're just wanting to leave your fingerprint on something, you know, to make sure that somebody knew that you did this, you probably don't need to put your hand down there because any of the moisture from your fingers, if you have lotion on your hands or anything like that, will leave your fingerprint behind when you chalk over it. Okay, so I like the way this is looking. It's not a distinct line, not a stark line, but I'm going to give it a little swishy going around there. I don't know if swishy is a word. It's my word for today. All right, so I'm going to move this to the side and I'm going to bring the ears down and I'm going to shade on the bottom portion of the ears with my brush going out. So that's one ear. Get the other ear done real quick. Now I know people use a lot of ink and sponges, and I do that a lot on cards that I'm making. But when I'm doing my characters, and I like cartoony characters, I like whimsy, cartoony type characters. I just like doing the chalk because there again, it's just real forgiving. Okay, so I'm going to pull the antlers in, and I want to make sure they're going in the right direction. Yeah, they are. Now I do have a towel on my lap that I rubbed my paintbrush on to clean it off. And if you really want to clean it afterwards, you can use soap in the palm of your hand and get it real soapy and then wash it off and rinse it out and then flatten your brush back out and then lay it flat to dry. Don't lay it, you know, don't stand it up because that way the water doesn't go in the ferrule of the brush and then make the bristles do that. So I'm using this black right here to shade these antlers. And I'm going to come along the left side of the antler. You see, I'm still holding it with my fingernail. And I think you can probably see that better there. You see that? It just gives it a little something, a little pop. Now with this one, I'm going to shade on the other side. Now I'm not trying to artistically make this look right because there again, this is a cartoony type of animal or a character. Now I'm going to shade on the nose. I know this is really strange probably for you, but I cut this out of glitter paper and I want to shade just a little bit on the what would be the bottom side of that nose just to give it just a little bit of a shadow. And you can choose to do that or not, but just what I like. So you can see the darkness right there. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in some holly leaves that I cut. What I did, the holly leaves were not included in the cut file. So what I did was I just kind of sketched out a simple holly leaf on a piece of cardstock and I cut it out. And then I placed it on top of some printed cardstock and traced it on with a Micron Pigma Pen 05 tip. And I'm going to shade these. I'm going to use the green that's right here. It's a dark green. And I'm going to shade what would be probably the bottom of the holly leaf. And just give it a little bit here and there. Rub it in. And then this one, get it shaded up. It gives it just a little bit of dimension, not a whole lot, but I'm telling you, it really makes a huge difference in the end when you're putting it all together. Okay, this is all that I'm doing in this case. Now I have another case of chalk that's a smaller one that I use for cheeks, and that's another signature piece of mine. All my little critters always have cheeks. I just want them to be happy. And so we're going to make some cheeks on this reindeer face. Now you can see the color that I use a lot right here, this pink. And then there's a really pretty blue red that's right above it. And blue red is really hard to find. A lot of the reds have a lot of orange in it, but this one's a real pretty blue red. So I'll use a little bit of both. Now, if you didn't have chalks and you wanted to do something similar to this, even if you cut out your own design, even if you didn't have a silhouette, you just pieced some things together and you wanted to decorate it, you could, and you didn't want to invest in any chalks or pan pastels, you could actually go to the dollar store and you could buy a tan or a brown eyeshadow and some blush, a really pretty pink blush. And there you have it. You've got chalks for only $2. And you can practice with those. And I always tell my girls in my art class at school, I teach an art journaling class at the school that I teach at. I'm a science teacher, but I also get the privilege of teaching art classes, which I think is awesome. I tell my girls all the time that practice makes progress, not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but practice does make progress. So the more you practice, the better you get at it. All right, so here's another tip. Now I'm blowing a little bit of the chalk away that's not rubbing in, so you may hear me puff on this just a little. Okay, when you're doing cheeks, and this was an instruction that I learned from my painting teacher years ago. She said, if you're right-handed and you want something to kind of be straight across from each other, you start on the left-hand side, then you do the right-hand side. I don't know why it works, but it works. I've tried it the other way and I get them all cockeyed. And so you'd start there if you're right, and I'm right-handed, so I started on the left and I went to the right cheek afterwards. So now I'm going to add just a little bit of red around the bottom of each one. And then I'm going to move to the ears and do the same thing in the ears. I'm going to add just a little bit of the pink in the ears that shows, shows up just a little. Add a little bit in each ear. I'm going to hold them down so I can blow on them. There. All right, and then you go back to the red and just add a little bit of red around the bottom portion where I shaded. And I'm going to show you just, see, it just makes a little bit of a difference. A little bit goes a long way. And that wasn't too difficult. We got everything shaded. Now we're going to add some details to the reindeer. Now in the cut file, they had a little piece of black that you would cut to normally put behind the eyes right here, but I wanted my eyes bigger. I wanted the eyes on my reindeer bigger. And so I have an old EK Success circle punch. I don't even know what size this is, and this is really, really old. And so I took some black cardstock, and you can see where I've punched some of the eyes out before, excuse me. And so I punched two little circles, and I'm going to have those as the eyes. Now I like the eyes to sit not straight across from each other, but kind of one above the other, and just enough to kind of give it a little bit of personality. Now I'm going to need my tweezers to get a hold of these, because these things are itty bitty. And I'm using Tombow Mono liquid glue and putting a dab on the eye there. And some of it will go through the hole, but the majority of it's So I'm going to put this one right over the hole. And then this one I'm going just a little bit above that hole. Now it'll probably stick to my paper underneath, so I'm going to move it just a second when I get this one down. There we go. So it won't stick to my paper. Okay. Now I'm going to put the nose on, and I had put a little bit of dimensional adhesive on the back here. And making sure that my dark is down toward the bottom. That one, it's kind of off a little bit, but I think that just adds to the personality. And then the ears go behind the actual face before you glue it onto the tag portion. So making sure that the brown portion that I added with the chalk is on the lower side. I'm getting this one. Get him glued up. Starting to take shape. He's starting to look really cute. Like I said, he was cute before, but I really like him when he's done. Him or her. Okay, next I'm going to put the antlers on, and I'm just going to run a little bit of the Monotombo glue on the antlers. And what I like to do is place them on there, and then I'll pick it up and make sure that it's kind of, the tan is not showing behind the brown. Get them all evened up. This one turned out really good. I didn't have to do much to it. Get the antlers even. All right, next is the holly leaves. Making sure the brown, I mean not the brown, the green is down here on the bottom. And then I took one of a button that I had in my stash, and I ran some white and red baker's twine through it and tied a little bow. And I'm going to put it on with glossy accents. I think the glossy accents shows or holds a little better than another type of liquid glue that I actually have on hand. So I'm going to put some glossy accents down real quick, and then pick it up by the twine. Now I got this twine. You'll never believe where I bought this twine. It wasn't at a craft store. Get that on there. Hope it'll dry well. Look at this mammoth thing of twine. I think I'll have plenty for a while. I found this at Home Goods 2 years ago, and it was like close to $4, and I was like, I have to have this. It's too good of a price to pass up, and it is a massive amount of red twine. So if you need any, I'll be glad to share. All right, now I'm going to start to add some more details, but not with chalk, with my Micron Pigma pen and the Uniball white pen. So the first thing that I'm going to use is my Micron Pigma pen, and I use the 05, I don't know if you can see it, oops, upside down, there we go, 05 tip. And what I like to do is, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time drawing a straight line without a ruler. And so one time my instructor said, well, why don't you just do wavy lines on purpose? So that's what I'm doing, some little wavy lines around the ear. And I won't do much around this one because we already covered it up halfway with the holly. That just looks like fur, you know, just a little bit of fur. And then I want to give it some eyebrows and a mouth, like he's up to something, like he knows a secret. Okay, So that's what I would do there. And then I'm going to add a little S here and a little S here, just to kind of give it a vein in the holly. Then I'm going to come back with my Uniball Signo white pen, and I'm going to warm it up on my hand to make the ball rolling again. And I'm going to do like a little highlight here, and one over here. And then I always put little white dots, reflective dots in the eyes of all the critters I do. And another signature of mine is to do the little white dots on the cheek. Notice I went over here first, over to this side, and then this side. I don't know why it works, like I said, but it does. All right. Now, the last thing for the face, it's not really the face, but I'm going to use my Wink of Stella pen. This is the clear one. And I love this stuff because you're able to add shimmer and shine to stuff, to items that you're doing, without a whole lot of glitter going everywhere. And so I want to add some to the antlers to give them a little glitz. And so it has a brush tip on the end, and it just is, these things are awesome. I've often said, why can't I come up with those ideas? But whoever did, did a great job, because I love them. And you can get these now at Michael's. They carry them. And they carry them in different colors, like gold and black and red. But I like the clear. That way I can add it to any color I want to. And, if you did this nose out of regular red paper and you had this, you could put that on there. I'm going to add just a little bit of shine to the top of the ears. And just a little bit on the holly to give it a reflection. Okay, I think our reindeer face is done. All right, now I'm going to bring in the tag, and this folds over to make the pocket. And so I went ahead and put some 1/4 inch double-sided tape, some score tape, because I want to make sure this thing stays together really, really well. Because if I give that to somebody, I don't want them to, me hand it to them and it fall apart. So I have my craft knife here, taking the sticky backs, or the covering off that, and I'll fold it over and make sure that it lines up on the bottom. I'm going to take my bone folder and do a little burnishing right here to make sure this sticks, because I want the reindeer face to stick on there really well. And I'm also burnishing all this down to make it smoother. But before I put the reindeer face on there, I want to take my Micron Pigma pen one more time. And like I said earlier, I don't make straight lines well, so I make curvy lines on purpose. So I do a little curve and 2 dots, a little curve, 2 dots, a little curve, 2 dots. And you could do a straight line with 1 dot, or a little curve and 3 dots, and a little curve and 2 dots. And it just kind of outlines the tag itself and does something for up there, whereas the focal point is going to be your reindeer face. Okay, and actually if you wanted to, you could take the chalk and shade up there, but I'm not going to do that. All right, get my craft knife and get the paper removed so the sticky is exposed. Getting close to being finished. Wouldn't this just be so cute? This would actually be a cute ornament on a tree. And that way you could hide a surprise in there and have it hanging on the tree, your Christmas tree, and then somebody have to look for it and then find the little surprise in the pocket. Okay, to get this lined up, I prop it up like this so I can see the bottom really well. Try not to stick it down. There we go. See, this stuff sticks. Alrighty. And then we take a piece of my twine that I don't think I'll ever run out of, ever. And I cut a long piece and then I fold it and then I folded it again. And I'm going to stick this through the hole that the silhouette makes. If I can get it done with my fingernails. Sometimes they're a blessing and sometimes they're a curse. Alright, so pull it through here. Pull it like that. Trim it off. And voila, we have a cute little reindeer tag. Isn't that so cute? Alright, so if you have never seen this and you're going to try it, please let me know. I would love to have a comment. If you like it, leave me a comment below. Give me a thumbs up. And please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button right there. I would love for you to be a subscriber so you won't ever miss a video. And if you have suggestions of things that you would like to see, if you want to see more with the chalking and learn more about it, or see some other tags or some Christmas cards, you have an idea for whatever, I'd love to hear from you. All right, so we have a bunch of reindeer tags ready to go for 2 people with the gift cards inside. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I did. Thank you. See you next time.